Man, what's happening? we the streets. We the streets. Yo, we the only podcast. What happened? Cuz, where you went? Yo, is what it is, Pop. It's What's the Word podcast. You up here. Thought Cuzzo was gonna be, I don't know what happened. With my co-host. Oh, there she go right there. With my co-host, Key. We
Hey,
up in here.
hey. What up,
Yo,
everybody?
this is the reaction videos, man. This is serious right here, man. This video is crazy. This is this video. Hold up. Oh yeah, I gotta do this. This video is like very profound, but it's real, bro. That's all I'm saying. So you want to say something before I start this video? Okay. Yo.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right. So you don't want to say nothing? You good? You want me to start the video?
Yeah, let's watch the video.
All right.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
Oh, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has it. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify Point of Sale, the all-in-one POS solution.
Lord,
That
Built
not-
over 1,000. Shopify Point of Sale can help you elevate your e-commerce strategy, streamline operations, and increase sales. So get your business ready for the future of retail today and switch to Shopify Point of Sale. Sign up for a free trial today.
Yo, I'm taking it deeper.
yeah, that right there was cold. That I could name a few people that they basically was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Check it out. We ain't over. We is not over.
I'm Stanley Tucci, your host of Independent Lens. Mississippi, 1959. Black Korean War veteran Clyde Kennard was sentenced to 7 years in jail for stealing chicken feed. Years later, it was confirmed that a state-run organization had planted the evidence that led to his conviction. What had he done to make him an enemy of the state? He applied for college. Independent filmmaker Dawn Porter exposes the long-hidden secrets of the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, an organization created to keep segregation in place at any price. When a judge ordered the sealed files opened, they revealed a sordid history that was not as black and white as you might think. The commission created a network of black double agents who infiltrated the civil rights movement. When covert information landed in the hands of the Ku Klux Klan, well, that was just collateral damage. What happens when those with the power to protect our rights are working to suppress them? Spies of Mississippi. Next.
Now, cuz, Cuz, now, is you ready for this? See, is you ready for this?
I'm ready, but are they ready?
Cuz, see,
Yeah.
that's what I've been saying. See, I've been wanting to do this for years. Had to set up, see, these are the type videos I be watching. You feel what I'm saying? See, this is what this What's the Word podcast is about. Forget all how, white man this and white man nah. Forget all that. Let's see what our leaders been doing for us.
That's right.
Let's see that. Let's see who been keeping us down. And it's damn sure ain't the white man. Now that don't mean we supposed to go loving up on the white man. No, we gotta correct our problem in our community, man. We are breeding a community of sellouts. What is your thoughts?
I totally agree. The same ones that we're taught to love is the same ones that's leading us down the wrong road. Basically, leading the sheep to the slaughter.
Exactly. That's
And then they got
exactly what it is.
so, and it's crazy because they got our people so brainwashed. Everybody is in total agreement that we've been lied to, and we can't really trust the government, and we can't really trust what the higher ups are telling us, and this and that. But when you expose the corruption and the truth, they don't want to believe it. So it's like you're still holding on to that lie. Now, what sense do that make?
It don't make none at all. See, hey, yo, check this out, man. I'm about to show you. Come here, boy. Get your mind. Get in there. She in the garage. In July V. What up? And this thing gonna get real deep, man. I just got distracted, man. My grandson ran up in there. But listen, this thing is about to get deep. Check this out. We gonna pause it every 15. Or when something got bang bang. If something hit right, we just pause it. Let's go. And this was a very good, excellent documentary. Excellent.
Remember Johnson said, there's America, there's the South, and then there's Mississippi.
Mississippi was a violent place in the 1950s and 1960s. Any kind of civil rights agitation was a death-defying act.
The Mississippi State Sovereignty Commission was Mississippi's spy agency during the Civil Rights Movement.
The Sovereignty Commission wanted to know who the activists were in the black community.
Down in Mississippi.
They were out to stop overt efforts at integration.
Down in Mississippi, where I was born.
It's state government itself. We're not just talking about some rednecks on the street or pulling the song. This is defined at its highest levels.
We knew we were being followed. I knew my life was in danger.
This is still the United States of America, and you don't treat American citizens this way.
You will be arrested for parading without a permit.
How far the Sovereignty Commission went in terms of crossing legal lines, I think it is accurate to say that they cross them all the time.
Way down in Mississippi. Down in Mississippi.
Looking at the United States, Mississippi is in the center of the state at the southernmost tip. Mississippi definitely is considered the Deep South. Growing up in Mississippi, I'm the youngest of 12 children. My parents were sharecroppers when I was born. So naturally, being a sharecropper, I did a lot of work in the fields. When I went to school, at that particular time, growing up, especially as black, the books we received and used were hand-me-down books once they became obsolete for the white students.
It was to keep that whole system that really had its roots in slavery. These are the people who cleaned their homes, worked their land. And if they could do more than that, they might actually become equal. And they never wanted it to come to a point where there would be real equality.
There was a higher percentage of African Americans living in Mississippi than in any other state. At one time, it was a majority. Those were the numbers that drove the intensity of the opposition to integration, that so many white people could not comprehend a reversal of the roles of whites and blacks. And they thought that blacks would dominate the state in almost every way. The political atmosphere in Mississippi in the middle 1950s was beginning to change very drastically.
By 1956, Brown versus Board of Education had been passed. The great Supreme Court ruling that said that you couldn't discriminate within education on the basis of race. The legislature of Mississippi was almost 100% segregationist. And many of them rabid segregationists at the time who felt that the struggle was starting to turn against the state and that the federal government was gaining power to enforce civil rights laws, and they create a special agency with the direct mission to preserve segregation.
In the legislature of 1956, one of the major bills that was in session was a bill to create something called the Sovereignty Commission.
I'm sure that you will not fail to enact an appropriate state sovereignty bill, which will enable us during the next 2 years to maintain a successful fight for preserving the separation of the races in this state.
At that time, it seemed to be a harmless kind of legislation.
You.
Yo. But y'all seen, right? What they passed. Something that's gonna keep them separated. Right? Now remember that. Remember that now. Remember that. Let's let it keep rocking on. We got 2 minutes before we break.
More like a white chamber of commerce. Then we began to ask questions about it, about how that bill could be abused. It passed, however, and was enacted by the legislature and signed by Governor Coleman and set in motion.
This is Mississippi, the central state, the heart of the South.
It started out as a public relations campaign with films like Message from Mississippi, letting the world know that people liked the system of segregation in Mississippi and that nothing should ever change it.
Out of the statewide pattern of segregation, mutual respect and cooperation among the races has arisen a productive, law-abiding way of life. Reverend J.W. Jones, colored pastor of New Albany and editor of a statewide colored newspaper, has this to say.
We have far less crime in our race in Mississippi in proportion to the population than in any state in the nation. I believe this is because of the way of life in Mississippi.
They sent out mailings, they sent out speakers, they invited newspaper people into the state, talked to them, tried to persuade them that, you know, all is well here. We got some good black people, and we treat them well.
The Sovereignty Commission became an instrument of state power in enforcing segregation.
It's initially a small agency under the control of the governor that will keep track of these civil rights organizations.
We were mounting what I think of as an earned insurgency in this country and in Mississippi. I think that earned for us the right to go to the rest of the country and say, we need the rest of the country to take a look at what's going on in Mississippi.
If you registered to vote, you immediately became an enemy of the state. If you rented from a white person, you were kicked out. If you worked for a white person, you were fired. And yet we got thousands of people to take on an entire state that was committed to an apartheid system that would make South Africa blush.
It was the beginning of the so-called civil rights era. That's when the tensions began to rise over what was coming, what people thought was coming down the road.
Within 3 to 4 years of its being formed, the Mississippi State Sovereignty Commission transforms itself into a full-blown spy agency with a whole network of investigators and agents to go around the state, exploring things that were going to possibly change what people euphemistically called the Mississippi way of life.
The Sovereignty Commission spy program actually started at a very small level. It's a couple of agents, usually former state police investigators, even former FBI agents, who are highly skilled investigators, and they're at the core. So they're investigating people believed to be connected to the NAACP. So these are people like Zach Van Landingham, a white agent trained in investigation, out there gathering information. The NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and it's a historic organization. It was started in 1909. It was a biracial organization, so whites and blacks joining together to have a dedicated organization.
NAACP is what? What they say NAACP? What they say? What? Huh? Advance for colored people, and you know what color fall up under? Biracial. NAACP is not an organization for Negroes. Straight full-blood Negroes. No, it's not. We don't have a full black organization. The only one we have was Marcus Garvey. That's the only one. You heard what he said. NAACP is a biracial organization.
Wow.
That would focus on advancing the rights of African Americans in the United States. I'll never forget finding the file on Clyde Kennard, the young man whose great crime against the state of Mississippi was to apply to go to college.
Clyde Kennard was a Korean War veteran, an upstanding citizen who had studied in the northern universities, and who was very ambitious and a profoundly decent and good guy. In the 50s, Clyde Kennard tried to go to the University of Southern Mississippi.
In the 1950s, the few African Americans in the South who were able to enroll in college could only attend black schools. Kennard's application to attend Mississippi Southern was seen as an attack on segregation and set into motion a swift response from the state. His application was given to the Mississippi State Sovereignty Commission, an organization few Mississippians even knew existed. They did a report that tracked his background growing up in Mississippi, his time spent with his family in Chicago, his time in the military, his time at the University of Chicago, and his time back in Mississippi helping his ailing mother on her chicken farm. With multiple agents tracking everybody in his background, they couldn't come up with anything that could undercut his application to go to college.
The police, with the cooperation of the State Sovereignty Commission, planted stolen chicken feed from the county co-op, but about $20 worth of chicken feed were planted on his farm. He didn't steal them, everybody knows that. But he was arrested for that and was put in prison for 7 years.
He was sentenced to Parchman Penitentiary, the worst prison at that time probably in the country. They let him out a couple months before he died of cancer, but only because he was terminal.
That Sovereignty Commission did all they could to hold back progress in our state and basically discourage any kind of efforts to bring black and white people together.
There were rumors that the white car parked outside the gate of...
Yo, do you hear this? And guess who planted that? Guess who planted that junk on his farm? It was a brother. It wasn't no white man.
Right.
I'm trying to tell you, they set him up. Yeah, they say double agents. See, the agents was sending blacks out to do that, bro. These are spies, double agents, bro. If you was too smart for your britches, just like 50 said to Little Mitch, oh, he asking for more money, he think he bigger than power. That's exactly what they using, bro. That's some dangerous, that's some dangerous shit, man. This is some dangerous stuff. See, you got all these podcasts. All these, I'm real, I'm from the street. Yo, we do what we do. None of them don't cover nothing like this here. Because it's too profound, it's too up there because they want to be a part of it, man. They want to be a part of it. That's all, man. Listen, man, this is crazy. Y'all got anything to say?
Hold
Well, basically, that's like I said. These are the same test strategies that they're using on us still to this day. Your famous rapper, your famous YouTuber, your famous actor, your famous athlete, so on and so forth. This is what they do. Like, you got to understand, we outnumber them. So if you are trying to control a large population, you basically going to have to stick it to them mentally. So you're not going to be able to overpower them. You're not going to be able to just go out and just cut everybody's water off, if you know what I mean. So this is what they do. They play mental mind games. What Malcolm X say? The media will have you that's for you and loving up on the people that's against you. And I'd be damned if we're still living that same truth still to this day.
Listen, it's like this shit is playing. This is chess. This thing is funny to certain, and they're breeding. To me, they're breeding a community of sellout blacks, bro. They breed them to sell out.
I would agree.
Yo, it's gonna break your heart more. Shabazz, you got anything to say? I think this thing got Shabazz shook, man. Check this out.
Of Tougaloo College was taking down the license plate numbers of everyone, black or white, who went to an interracial meeting. It turns out that is what was happening. People would then be afraid to come to another meeting.
One of the things that they were really known for doing was getting the license plate tags, names, and addresses of people who were attending civil rights meetings and giving them to newspaper editors who would publish the names and addresses of these people, which is an incredibly effective terror tactic because they obviously were subject to night raids by the Klan or by other terrorist groups or by individuals who were just bent on white supremacy.
So other black leaders knew that there was something going on, that these white agents
Do you see how they use the media to torture people? Do you see how they politicicize and weaponize that media? See, I'm trying to tell you. Ain't nothing new up under the sun, man.
Been going on.
Yeah, it been going on. Ain't nothing new up under the sun.
Okay, I had to come back in because my power had just went out.
Yo, word up. It ain't nothing new up under the sun. Do you see how they say they use the media as like a terrorist attack? You using the media like they used on Donald Trump. They can use the media. They can weaponize the media. They've been doing it back in the mid-50s. I mean, yo, this documentary is so open and so profound. It's crazy. Listen, man. Yo, listen some more, man. It's gonna just shock you as it go on. It's gonna shock you. Now remember. Now y'all remember they was getting the license plates and the names and all that. Now watch this.
who were showing up, but they didn't know it was the Sovereignty Commission.
We would always have a say in the meetings. We don't ever have to worry about planning and people knowing, because by the time we leave here and in the morning, they gonna know anyway. That was kind of an acknowledgement that there was people around giving up information. We couldn't do a whole lot about it because we couldn't really prove it.
Early on, the commission realized that in order to truly be effective, it needed black agents.
They were essentially African Americans who were paid to go out, and they would sit in an NAACP meeting, and they would come back and report to the Sovereignty Commission, hey, here's what was said.
Your background, mute up.
Say what?
It's important to recognize that these were the minority within the black community. So it was not easy to find someone who was willing to do this. But there were a number of them who were tied in to the black power structure and who were willing to share that information.
You hear them garbage ass? Did you hear them garbage mother?
B.L. Bell wrote the governor a
bootlicking
letter. I understand you've started this Sovereignty Commission. I'd like to volunteer my services And so he does, and so they send him out and he goes to these various meetings.
B.L. Bell was my uncle. He married my father's baby sister. My aunt married him, but he never dealt with us that much because we were not, as he called people, the thinking class people. My mom was a maid and my daddy was a cement finisher and a cotton sampler. So we were working class people. He really didn't want to see progress. And he thought that, like many other people, felt that they were above us and they wanted to stay above us. I knew H.H. Humes when I was a kid growing up in Cleveland. He was the pastor of this church called St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church. The people liked Dr. Humes because he was a whooping preacher. He could holler and stomp real loud and put the fear of fire and brimstones in you. He was one of the biggest preachers in Cleveland. People respected him. I had no idea that he was an informant for the Sovereignty Commission.
He was a meticulous spy who would file reports back to the commission, new members of the NAACP, new tactics that they planned to employ, new events that they were going to orchestrate. Constant reports going from Reverend Humes back to the commission. And that became a model of how the commission could take a conservative black leader who might have his own issues with the NAACP and through the power of money and through the power of prestige, tap that person as a source of intelligence to be used against the civil rights movement.
We were always looking for the white guys in the pickup trucks down the road to take tag numbers down when we were leaving. But we never decided to look around the room. We were not understanding that perhaps people were being paid who looked like us to spy and report back.
Percy Green, editor of the Jackson Advocate, the biggest newspaper for the African American community at the time.
Now look at Percy. Just look at him. Look at Percy. Now you tell me what you see when you look at Percy.
He looked like a high yellow Negro.
And he sound like and he looked like when he's in a room with high yellow, man, let that black ass nigga go. Don't keep him around me.
Yeah,
tell me he don't look like that.
Yeah, Uncle Tom.
Tell me he don't look like, get that mother, that dirty, that man, that smell, he don't even smell right. Get him out my face. There you go.
So so he mixed, right?
Yo, you already know those are sellouts. Watch this here.
Yeah.
You about to break your heart some more. Watch this.
Didn't like the new, younger membership of the NAACP that might be a little more strident than the older generation, and ended up supplying a pretty steady stream of intelligence for information from within the.
Now, was he not part of the NAACP? What they say about the NAACP? And what they say NAACP is a biracial organization?
Mm-hmm.
Look at this, man. This is some devilish shit, man.
He was yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Watch this here.
Black community.
A lot of us operated on the assumption that this was somebody that I might want to emulate when I grow up. He was always impeccably dressed and from all indications appeared to be a very successful individual.
They were scared that they would lose their social standing in the community if you had equality.
There are all too many Negroes who have segregated minds. They have been told so long that They don't count that they are inferior, that they've come to believe that. This is the tragedy of segregation, not merely what it has done to the Negro in terms of physical inconvenience, but what it has done to his soul, what it has done to him psychologically.
In the late 50s, the Associated Press
what they tried to see. Listen,
got a hold of.
King was on point, man. He was speaking some truth. He was on point. But his political beliefs, that's what really made him a threat.
Yeah.
What he was telling blacks, it was automatic true, but what he was leading blacks to wasn't, you know what I'm saying, up to par or the right thing to do. You feel what I'm saying? Because he was leading blacks towards communism and socialism and all that shit. And, you know, and that blacks ain't made for that, brother. You know what I'm saying? So he was on point. What he's saying right then, he was right, because a lot of them people still got the same mentality today. That they are inferior, the white man's better than them. They always compare shit to the white man. Man, the white man did it, man, so you know it's gonna. You feel what I'm saying? You got them dudes, man. Always somebody, yo, man, the white man, man, I don't care what the white man did it, man. Hey, yo, this how the white man did it, man. I mean, like, so tell me how the black man did it. I mean, because the black man created it and the white man stole it. And you like the way the white man do it. This is how the white man stole it, man. You see how the white man stole it? Man, yeehaw. Hey, white man. You know what I'm saying? They love him. They love him. Check it out. Get ready for more your heart to get more broken. Here it is.
Of two checks. One filed from the Sovereignty Commission to Percy Green, and one filed from the Sovereignty Commission to Reverend Humes.
No.
And they wrote a story about these two prominent black leaders getting paid under the table by an agency dedicated to preserving segregation. There were demands that Percy Green be taken out of his role as head of the Baptist Convention, which was a huge group of hundreds of thousands of Baptists. There was a big outcry against Green in his newspaper. Reverend Humes was under tremendous stress at that time, and late one night, while coming home from a friend's house, he suffered a heart attack and died. One of the more telling things that happened was the next day, a Sovereignty Commission agent showed up at his house and, unbeknownst to the grieving family, went into his private office and removed all files pertaining to the Sovereignty Commission to hide that relationship.
B.L. Bell gets exposed as a spy publicly, so his effectiveness as a spy is zero now. And the letters that you read after that are really kind of pitiful. He writes and says, I've got this expense or that expense I was wondering you could help me with. He had outlived his usefulness, and they just completely cut him off.
Wow.
Anytime there's a great freedom movement, there are people who end up on both sides. And
did you hear that? Did you hear that? That dude depended on them. As he was useful, he was tearing down black organizations. And when he was done with, they couldn't use him no more. They threw him to the side, and he's still writing them, asking them, can they help him with this and that, and they just ignoring him. After he done sold his people out. You hear me?
That's what they do.
And they still
doing
that's what they do.
Yeah, they're doing that every day. And the same stuff still going on, just a different time, man. Same remedy, man.
That's crazy.
Same remedy. And it's on a different level now, a higher level.
Yeah.
From the bottom to the top, right,
yeah. Man.
For real. They were just talking about my people. She was just talking about one of her coworkers, how this girl busts up behind on the job, come in when they was short, work overtime. So she had went and had surgery. So now she trying to come back and get the you know, when after you have surgery, you know, you got to stay gone for a couple of weeks. But once your time up, you still can come back to work. But they just put you. They got a certain position. They call that when you go back to work. It's on the lower scale. But they tell that girl they ain't got no position for her, and they need people right now. They be short every day. They don't want to give her the opportunity to go back there and get a job back because she still got a medical issue, but it ain't serious how it was in the beginning.
Oh wow!
Like then when y'all needed her, y'all used and abused her. Now y'all feel like y'all can't do that. Y'all need it no more. Y'all just kick it to the curb.
Yeah, that's what they do, man.
And
That's why you gotta start your own shit.
And she was working there about 10 years. She was working that job about 10 years, busting her behind for the people, man.
Man, she should have started her own business, man. She should have started her own business, man. I'm trying to tell you, get her own private patients, bro. That's crazy,
man.
man.
Crazy,
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Yo, man, and people ain't loyal, man. People ain't loyal. They're not loyal. It is so scary, man, how unloyal people are, man, nowadays, man. Like they look at being unloyal as being cool.
Yeah, they don't even care. Man, they don't even care no more about that shit, bro.
Nah, they
you know, back in the day, like, when we came up, that shit was, bro, you weren't lying, but that shit had a motherfucker feel some type of way. Man, nowadays, they don't even care, bro. They don't care what you say. Who knows? Bro, it's bad, bro. It's bad, bro.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, man, this dude sell people out bad. Man, hey, yo, man, these black dudes rest. I'm so serious. Man, them dudes rest in piss, man. I don't got no love for them at all. I'm dead serious. I don't have no love for these.
But that's what my people is. Her brother. He a fucking cool, man. He hate his own color, bro. I'm dead serious, bro.
That's crazy.
That's all he deal with white girls now. Every week he get paid, he take his money to the white girl. He don't do shit. He don't volunteer to do shit for his people. He be coming over here. He want to get drunk. Want to think he can put the Tim down on them. You know they ain't like that. Man, get the fuck out of here, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, nigga.
Yeah, nigga got his whole life messed up because you want to be a part of something. I tell you, I played that video before you came in. But you're gonna see it before you came in, man. Yo, that's what they want to be, man. They want to be like the white people.
Yeah, man. Listen, that nigga talk cold cash. He talk cold cash shit about his people, bro. Nigga, you black, nigga.
Yeah.
When shit hit the fan, but listen. Yeah, when shit hit the fan, when the motherfuckers start gunning shit down, who you think you're gonna say? Just because you think you want us, they're gonna spare you? Man, they gonna hit you. Gonna be the first one they hit, nigga.
Nah, they gonna use them to catch other blacks.
Yeah, as they get done, they gonna hit him in the head.
Yup, they gonna hit him in the head.
That nigga a damn coon, man.
That's exactly what it is. The white man's best friend is not a dog. It's a sellout black dude. Watch this shit, man. Yo, get your heart ready for your heart to get way more broken. It's about to get ripped up right now. Get ready.
And if we could transport ourselves back to Mississippi at that time, it was a confusing time. There were many shades of opinion on all the issues related to civil rights.
We had a lot of people who felt that there was no way that the civil rights movement could possibly win. So why not get on the winning side early? And others would say, well, the government asked me to do it, therefore it has to be legal. The government doesn't do illegal things, does it?
The future of the United States of America may well be determined here in Mississippi, for it is here that democracy faces its most serious challenge. Can we have government in Mississippi which represents all of the people? This is a question which must be answered in the affirmative if these United States are to continue to give moral leadership to the free world.
There is no case in history where the Caucasian race has survived social integration. We will not drink from the cup of genocide.
And just over the period of a little over 2 weeks, you've had 50 major demonstrations across the country in all parts of the United States, not being created by the federal government. They're being created by people who are dissatisfied with being treated as second-class citizens. And this is the difficulty. We have to do something about it. We have to deal with it.
By 1960 in the Deep South, the sit-in movement has just exploded. The Sovereignty Commission sees this happening in this rapid development and growth of an organized civil rights movement where you do have people who call themselves civil rights activists. And so the Sovereignty Commission has to ramp up its own efforts to defy the civil rights movement and these activists.
The State Sovereignty Commission really assumed its mature and most malignant form after 1960, after Ross Barnett was governor of the state. The agency really became sort of the Stasi of Mississippi under Ross Barnett.
They double the number of spies they have themselves. They decide they're going to try and reach out. Well, how can we do this? These detective agencies kind of volunteer their services.
These private detective agencies had both white investigators and black investigators.
They had 4 or 5 detective agencies that they hired to help do the work of the Sovereignty Commission, to investigate these people, to attend civil rights meetings.
So the black detective became the new model, and they could keep the payments to the detective agencies hidden, and certainly the role of the black detective would be very difficult for anyone to trace.
Spies let us know what these marches were going to do, where they were going, what towns they were going to, and the Sovereignty Commission was trying to keep up with the invasion from the north. The marches coming down through here, you know, and we pretty well did.
Invasion from the north. They still had the Civil War mentality, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't nothing but 60 years ago, man.
Yup.
That ain't nothing but 60-something years ago, ain't it?
Yup. Yup.
60-something years.
Almost, what?
Almost made me feel like I was watching a Civil War documentary.
You feel, hey, that was in the 60s, man. I'm trying to tell, I mean, the 50s, 60s, I think it was in the mid-50s, 60s. Listen. And our people walking around talking about, oh, man, forget about it. Man, they still got that blood running around here, man.
Yeah. Right now, people understand you being trafficked with these people. You be in hospitals, grocery stores, barbershops, wherever, you know what I'm saying? They still out here, right here.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
They everywhere. A lot of them don't reveal it like they used to, but they still out here, though.
They still out here.
I'm trying to hide it.
Our phones were tapped. The Sovereignty Commission has files of speeches that I gave and others gave extemporaneously, but they were copied, taped, typed, and stored in their files.
There's 160,000 pages of spy reports talking about tracking Medgar Evers, talking about preparing for an arrival of Martin Luther King into the state of Mississippi, getting information in advance about what his route would be and what the strategy would be to undercut him.
In many cases, as it pertains to specific civil rights events, or organizations, how little the Sovereignty Commission actually knew compared to what it thought it knew. And oftentimes that was because of the ability of civil rights activists to funnel the information that they wanted to funnel back to the Sovereignty Commission through these people who they knew were black informants.
It wasn't just the people who were out on the front lines. It was everybody. My parents' involvement in the civil rights movement, they would help people pass literacy tests. And then once they got registered to vote, my parents would collect the money and pay their poll taxes. They weren't on the front lines, they weren't marchers, they were at the background. Anybody who was trying to change the system in whatever small way they were trying to do it, you were suspect.
The Sovereignty Commission saw itself as working within the boundaries of state government, knowing that the mission of state government was to preserve segregation and was rooted in white supremacy. So the Sovereignty Commission was supplying information to the police agencies, the state police, the county sheriffs, without fully realizing that the Ku Klux Klan was on the ascendancy and that its strategy was to infiltrate the county sheriff's departments.
Klan had more or less disappeared in the 1920s. It hadn't been much through the 30s and 40s and 50s, but it came back with a vengeance, of course, in the 1960s and thoroughly terrorized the state with its campaign of bombing.
But is it violence when our communities are jeopardized by such sex-crazed, idiotic mobs as the Deacons or the NAACP? I say, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to make our stand. And I say that it is not violence when we protect ourselves.
Almost everyone was intimidated, really intimidated by the force of those who most rigidly opposed any change in the racial status quo. It was a time of almost unbelievable thought control, and it led to some of the most unfortunate events in the history of the civil rights movement.
We hope to send into Mississippi this summer upwards of 1,000 teachers, ministers, lawyers, and students from all around the country who will engage in what we're calling freedom schools, community center programs, voter registration activity, research work, work in the white communities, and in general, a program designed to open up we hope to send into Mississippi this summer upwards of 1,000 teachers, ministers, lawyers, and students from all around the country who will engage in what we're calling freedom.
What did I say right there?
Enola Freedom School.
What is that? India?
India NOLA Freedom School. NOLA Freedom School.
India NOLA. India NOLA Freedom.
India NOLA Freedom School.
I don't see no African American.
Hey, cuz it's an echo.
Huh?
It's an echo.
It's an echo?
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. It
Okay.
says, what do that say?
In India, no freedom.
Wow, that's kind of deep, ain't it? It's like a whole, hey, yo, look like a different, look like a parallel universe, ain't it?
It's a black and white lady holding each other's hand.
Schools, community center programs, voter registration activity, research work, work in the white communities, and in general, a program designed to open up Mississippi to the country.
We noticed that we were finally getting the attention of the country, because what we had to do was not only fight against the state of Mississippi, but we had to fight the United States of America on its indifference.
It was amazing to see that many young people that actually cared, because most privileged kids, and these were privileged kids, they didn't have to do that. I thought they were all just self-centered young people that was spoiled, but that was not the case for most of them that came.
The Sovereignty Commission, like the Klan, viewed Freedom Summer as an invasion. I mean, they basically thought, we're under siege, this is war.
The Jackson Police Department operates with the best demonstration deterrent of any city in the country. In addition to Thompson's tank, armor-plated and equipped with 9 machine gun positions, the arsenal includes cage trucks for transporting masses of arrested violators. Searchlight trucks, each of which can light 3 city blocks in case of night riots. Police dog teams, trained to trail, search a building, or disperse a mob or crowd. Mounted police for controlling parades and pedestrian traffic. And compounds and detention facilities to hold and house 10,000 prisoners. Along with these ironclad police facilities, there are new ironclad state laws outlawing picketing, economic boycotting, and demonstrating. Other laws to control the printing and distribution of certain types of information, and laws to dampen complaints to federal authorities.
We call.
Now the whole time they stopping them from talking to the feds. The whole time, all that was from preventing the citizens to talk to the feds.
Talking to the feds.
Yeah, that was state. That was state regulated. All that was state regulated.
Yeah.
That's why Alabama's still the same way it is right now. Mississippi and all that shit. Because they state regulated. They can reject the federal funds and just let the rich people be rich and the poor people be poor. That's some crucial shit, bro. That's why we gotta have our own as a black community. We gotta have our own, but then even when we try to get our own and try to get any type of economic, remember he said economic protest. He didn't say just any type, he said economic protest. If you try to protest for better jobs and try to protest for a union, that's against the law, bro. See? Right there. So it's right, it's documented that if we try to get up and get our own shit, we got people within our own people that will stop us, that will sabotage us. And then you will have the government or the state that what you in will back them up and put you in jail if you keep trying to keep fighting. And they would do it in your face. This is deep, man. And our people just sitting around want to be rappers and basketball players and all this stuff here, man. But this can happen to you at any given time. Your money don't mean nothing.
All out the highway patrol and the guard and people like that.
Look
Keep them in line.
Look at that.
We kept them in line.
We kept them in line.
We locked up a lot of them. Put them in jail.
Put them in jail.
For disorderly conduct, that sort of thing.
Disorderly
The jails in Jackson were full. In several other places we had them.
I don't mind coming to jail. I don't mind suffering at all. And I will suffer some more just for my freedom. I want equal rights. I want equal rights.
We were not intimidated. And I think that's important. If you get intimidated, you can't control anything.
They said equal rights, and that's a number like 60 years ago. Equal rights, we were screaming. In jail, getting treated like dogs and
The
animals.
training in Ohio that we were
Like
doing
them
for the
people
young
that
people that was coming
the
for the
Aborigines and
1964 summer project lasted for 2 weeks.
Hey yo, like the Aboriginals in Australia. That's how we was getting treated, bro. And then the messed up thing about it, we fight for equal rights, but we got people who look just like us in there sabotaging everything we trying to do. Putting our lives in danger and everything. You hear me?
Yeah, that's definitely deep.
That's a curse, man. When they say they curse, yes, you are cursed because they found out your weakness and made it a part of your existence.
Yeah.
Your weakness is envy and jealous of your own kind. The worst type of weakness to have. If you want to fight for separation, you don't gotta say, yo, let's integrate. Just give me equal rights, bro.
Yeah.
We don't have to mix. I mean, you could be a brother like that. Yeah, man, we don't gotta mix. Nah, I'm not taking that. No. We don't have to mix, brother. Just give us equal rights, man. We don't gotta come to y'all stuff, drink out of y'all water, man. We just wanted the opportunity to have fresh water like it, bro. That's it. Our better.
Right.
That's all we want.
What's all good?
Because think about it. What would be the real objective or purpose of integrating?
Say it one more time, girl.
That's the only way. The only way is for us to just get equal rights. Why else you want to integrate?
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm asking, what would be the objective or the purpose of integrating?
To me, it ain't none. To me, it ain't none. Just give me equal rights, and we don't have to integrate.
To me, it kind of feels like another avenue or a way of them controlling a certain particular
that's what it's gonna turn out to. Just keep watching. That's what it's
Yeah,
leading
that's
up
what it
to.
is too, cuz.
That's what it's leading up to. That's why I say keep watching. Even Martin Luther King, they had him messed up, and then he told Belafonte, he said, "Yo, I think I just led my people into a burning house," but it was too late. After that, he got shot in the neck.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
You hear what I say? So Martin Luther King was caught up in the drama too. He's just a man. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to put him up there as a saint, but he was just a man.
And see, also, he is prime example of what they explained because he was being paid by the Rothschild, and the Rothschild also was paying the KKK as well.
Yeah.
So it's like real life Game of Thrones. Like in Game of Thrones, the Iron Bank was funding both sides of the war.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Did you hear what I said?
That last part.
I said, just like in Game of Thrones, the Iron Bank was funded.
Was funded by what?
The Iron Bank was funding both sides of the war. I'm sorry, somebody keep calling me.
Yeah, that's that Rothschild, that's that Rockefeller shit. Yeah, that's that That's how them, you know what I'm saying? Those people cross seas came up, they families. They from wars. You know what I'm saying? You get triple up on when you from wars, man. You get triple money.
Right.
Yeah, because when they destroy the country, they all got to pay to build. They got to pay to rebuild the country. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you get your money back. Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But just, hey, yo, I mean, watch this, man. Let your heart still get broke. Watch this. It's still going.
The training had to do with preparing them for coming into Mississippi. Those three things you needed to be prepared for was to be beaten, to be put in jail, and to be killed. And if you're not prepared for all three of those, we won't hold it against you if you decide not to come.
Most likely a cop won't try to chunk you in here, but he will hit you across here. You can generally take those licks.
Mickey Schwerner was a dedicated activist working to register voters in Mississippi. He was at a training session in Ohio prior to Freedom Summer. Agent X was at that same training session. A black agent who was describing himself as an activist. And he had access to information about the people involved.
Agent X. Agent X was in there. He had access to everything, so that means he was a brother who was intelligent, who could take notes, and who was in top rank, and who was close to the secretary because they the ones who plan and schedule everything. If it wasn't the secretary. You hear what I say? But Agent X had to be someone of high intelligence who was a good organizer. You hear what I say? And he had access to all this information. And you know Agent X was black. Any questions?
And X was black, huh?
Yeah, he was there.
Black.
He was there. Because he had to get close to the documents. He had to, watch this here, watch this.
And he was going to share that information with the Sovereignty Commission, which he did.
So when the Sovereignty Commission comes over and begins spying on Mickey Schwerner back in spring of '64, they're sharing that information with the Meridian Police Department. Well, the Meridian Police Department, according to, I've talked directly to the officers themselves, more than half the police force over there were probably Klansmen.
I met Mickey Schwerner and James Chaney when we went to Meridian to a COFO conference. Mickey was funny as he wanted to be. I mean, just every time you saw him, he had a smile on his face. James Chaney was a native of Meridian. I call him J.E., James Earl, so we call him J.E. He was always anxious to do something and was really, really enthusiastic about trying to organize people in different communities. When I met Andy Goodman up in Oxford, and he was excited about coming here. I saw him when he was getting in his car, and he was just like a little kid at a carnival.
You know that them three that they just showed you, that's the movie Mississippi Burner based off of, right?
Oh, okay. I never seen that movie.
Yeah, that movie, Mississippi Burner, watch that. That's about those three brothers right there.
Wow.
You said Mississippi what?
I met with Mickey Schwerner
Mississippi Burner.
the day before he left the training session in Ohio. And he asked my opinion. Yeah, should we go back into the show? I said, of course. I said, there's too much publicity nationally. They would be, this would be the most idiotic thing they could possibly do. I was wrong.
Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner went to investigate the burning of a church, firebombing of a church.
So the Simony Commission was clearly responsible for funneling information about the whereabouts of Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney that day that they were investigating the church burning to local officials in Neshoba County in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Those local officials, the sheriff's office in particular, would arrest Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney that day, take them to the jail, where that night they would be taken out of the jail and would disappear. And for the next several weeks, there was a massive manhunt looking for these disappeared civil rights activists.
We know that 3 young men disappeared some time ago, and we know what happened to civil rights workers. We know what happened to Negroes in Mississippi when they disappear.
And he
Sometimes
just
you find
passed
them in the
away
river.
in what, 2017 or something like that? This brother right here, Keith.
I'm not sure.
What's his name? Lewis.
What is his name?
Something Lewis. Something Lewis. Yeah. This brother right here just passed away like in 2017. Hold on, what's his brother's name? John Lewis. John Lewis. The congressman, he was old as hell, man. He just passed away like 2017. I'm trying to tell you, man, this stuff is still fresh, bro.
Sometimes you find them hanging from trees, and sometimes you don't find them.
I have no reason to believe that these people have been killed. And we don't have any information with the state police that would justify any such conjecture.
So you have the governor of Mississippi, Senator Eastland, they're all coming out publicly and saying, oh, this is a hoax. They're probably down there with Castro smoking cigars and Cuba and, all this kind of talk. The time that Governor Johnson said that, he said that in Neshoba County. And where he was standing when he claimed it was a hoax, he was standing literally like less than a few miles from where the bodies were buried.
That's some sick, man.
44 days later,
That's some slow.
the FBI
like,
gets
inbred type
tipped
stuff
off,
to do,
and
right?
they do find where the bodies are buried, and they do dig up the bodies.
There was a map that can be found in the Simony Commission files today that indicates the direct location of the bodies. It's a hand-drawn map that shows them buried underneath this earthen dam. It is clearly more information that indicates that, again, the Simony Commission knew exactly what had happened, knew where these guys were, and knew that they were dead long before this several-week, multi-month search for their bodies had concluded.
When those bodies were dug up, then suddenly there was no hiding place anymore. There was no hiding place for the Klan anymore. The FBI was getting involved in the case. They were already involved in the case, but they were going to pursue the case. This one was not going to be ignored.
This country could not really reconcile. Why do 3 young people get killed for trying to register black people to vote, even in Mississippi?
Y'all know what my child was doing? He was trying for us all to make a better living. And he had 2 fellas from New York, had their own home and everything, didn't have nothing to worry. But they come here to help us. Did y'all know they come here to help us? They died for us.
Mrs. Schwerner and I both want to thank all of you from the bottom of our heart. And despite our own grief, we are full of a great pride. A pride that although he very well knew all of the risks, nevertheless, he lived fully by his principles. And Mrs. Schwerner and I shall continue to do whatever we can to help attain those goals for which, together with James and Andy, our beloved son gave his life.
It is sad, the fact that two of the victims were white and from New York City as well probably played a role in how much attention this case got. I mean, not just even the United States, but around the world.
He tried to say white, but really they was Jewish. You hear what I say? They was Jewish. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
They wasn't just white. They was Jewish. They was Jewish. You feel me? So you gotta understand, you can't kill or unalive two Jewish and think you're gonna get away with it. And the way they did it, you know, you heard the father ain't even mention Lee. The Yui father, he ain't even mentioned Lee. He mentioned the two dudes, Andy and Woo Woo, gonna be here for about a bing. That's my son-in-law. He ain't even mentioned Lee, the black dude. But the mother, but the black mother, she mentions him. She said he had two men with him. She mentioned him. And they said they was here to fight for us, y'all. They died for us. The black mother gave the love and everything. But even in a time of mourning, man, them people stay on script, man. The people stay on script. I mean, they just savage.
When Agent X was working out of Canton, Mississippi, he reported the license plate off the station wagon that the three civil rights workers were later driving.
While the identity of Agent X was never officially revealed, a number of activists went through those files and asked the question, who was at these meetings that were compromised? Who was there when we were talking about these things that ended up in a file of the Mississippi State Sovereignty Commission? And through a process of connecting the dots, it all led to one man, R.L. Bolden.
No, man. Watch.
They claim that I was a spy. That was a lie. I wasn't no spy. I was worse than shocked. I didn't realize that kind of information was out there because it wasn't true. It's possible that the detective agency was passing on information.
I knew R.L. very well. He was the vice president of the state NAACP, and he was intimately involved with us, and we didn't have any signs of indication that he was to the contrary. It was only through the diligence of late Senator Henry Kirksey, who began to pinpoint things to determine that he was working with the State Sovereignty Commission. And that had to do with him digging off into the files and looking at reports and seeing reports being given about certain specific meetings and him recollecting who was at the meeting. And everybody that attended that meeting were mentioned except one person that he knew was there. And that's when he came to the conclusion that since this is a pattern, that one person who is not mentioned at these meetings that I know was there have to be the one that's submitting the report.
Now y'all peep that? Now y'all peep that? As yo, now they was ill with it. Even if you go and research, they had no name. They just had Agent X, so you would never find out, even if the company got compromised.
Yeah.
But old boy investigative skills was so ill. He said, "Let me look at these this information on who was attending." He said, "Everybody that supposed to be there is there." He writing it down. Yeah, he got them there. But he said the nigga forgot to write himself down. So that's how he knew it.
So basically, those Agent X's are basically informants.
Yeah. He was working with the Salary Commission, man, the Mississippi Spies. And he was one of the top dudes. He was the second in command.
Because that's what basically snitches are in regular cases.
Huh?
Agent X, snitches.
Agent X, man, that's what they is. Hey, yo, Pete, this dude, yo, the way that they went and searched and researched and found out who did that, that was remarkable. Boy, that was some good detective work. That was some Sherlock Holmes shit, bro. Word up. He said the dude didn't mention himself. That's how, and he said, I know he was there. He said, my name's there. Everybody's name's on that paper, but I know he was there, but his name is not on that paper. So he gotta be the one doing it. Wow, that's crazy. Check this out, man. This is gonna get better.
Governor Johnson realizes that the Sovereignty Commission is indirectly responsible for the death of the 3 civil rights workers in the war. And he stops regular meetings of the Sovereignty Commission. One member of the Sovereignty Commission, Horace Harned, writes to the governor, and the first line of his letter is, Mississippi going to have a Sovereignty Commission. He's basically appealing to the governor to make sure that this commission remains active, because we still have to stop the forces that these outsiders are bringing into our state. And at that point, they do realize that it's crumbling, and they're trying to do whatever they can to prop it up.
At times, history and fate meet at a single time, in a single place, to shape a turning point in man's unending search for freedom.
The death knell, I think, for the Sovereignty Commission wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of '65. And when the Voting Rights Act finally passed in '65, that was it. I mean, they saw the writing on the wall. They couldn't do anything from that point forward to interfere with voting rights. In fact, they recognized what trouble they were in, because they had these memos about, okay, let's gather up all the records that have to do with thwarting voting rights and destroy them.
It was decided that the commission would be eliminated, its budget would be eliminated, and its files would be stored in a secret place for 50 years. There were so many state legislators, there were so many powerful people in the state of Mississippi who were in those files for supporting the activities of the commission. So they were scared to death that that would become known in their lifetime.
A lot of what we do as reporters is just expose. And it's really up to society to decide what they're going to do about it. The goal with regard to the Sovereignty Commission records was essentially exposing what they did. Here's the thing you got to remember. You've got all these Klan guys the Sovereignty Commission is directly sharing information with. That was all part of that mix of information that definitely helped lead to the killing of Mickey Schwerner and the other two civil rights workers. In other words, you might be killed just for belonging to the NAACP. And of course, Medgar Evers, who was the head of the NAACP in Mississippi, was assassinated in '63. It's not just that these guys got away with murder. It's the fact that everybody knew they were getting away with murder. And that's really, it's an injustice, but it's kind of an injustice at its height. And that's what attracted me to the story. That all his records are going to be sealed till like 2027 made me believe, well, there's something in those files, and I want those files. I developed sources who had access to the files, and they began to leak me those files. And what those files showed was at the same time the state of Mississippi was prosecuting Byron D. LeBeckwith for the murder of Medgar Evers. This other arm of the state, the Sovereignty Commission, which by the way was headed by the governor, was secretly assisting the defense, trying to get him acquitted. And nobody knew that at the time. And my story ran October 1st, 1989.
Are you going to continue to fight it?
The authorities reopened the Medgar Evers case as a result of the story, and Byron D. LeBeckwith was re-prosecuted and convicted in 1994, February 5th, 1994.
Thank you.
When this case got reopened, I thought it was just like catching, magic in a bottle one time, and it's been amazing. Almost all these cases, which had such incredibly high odds against re-prosecution, did happen and did get re-prosecuted. To date now, there have been 24 convictions in these cases, across the entire United States.
The opening of those papers was really an incredibly important day in the history of the state of Mississippi, because for the first time, a deep light was shined on the actual operations of the state of Mississippi in maintaining what was a racist, white supremacist power structure and its deeply entrenched efforts to do so at the expense of its black citizens, who are half the population in this state.
The people complain that, what are you doing digging up the past? Oh, we have good race relations now. Why are you trying to, you're just going to hurt that? What Myrtle Lee Evers said about this, I thought was really, really good. And what she said was, this is like a wound that hasn't healed. So it really has to be cleaned out before it can heal.
It's important that we study the past, and particularly I think it's important that Mississippi has some kind of truth and reconciliation, that the White South have some kind of truth and reconciliation, a process we largely bypassed. We changed, but we never looked back. We never tried to understand the enormity of our crimes against our own citizens. We didn't have that moment of reflection that at least South Africa tried. That's, I think, to our eternal shame.
I grew up in a state that up until probably after 9/11 was the largest domestic spying operation this country had ever known. When I read about the Patriot Act being developed and actually starting to look at library records, I flashed back to the Sovereignty Commission files when they were checking to see what people were actually subscribing to, which meant what were they reading, what was coming into their mailboxes. Whenever someone's civil liberties are being infringed upon, no one's really free.
I have had some unique experiences here. I chaired the Homeland Security Committee for 4 years. So I know what my government is capable of doing. But I also know that regardless to who you are, you have to have boundaries, or you start down that slippery slope. There's always a place for civil rights and civil liberties. I want my government to be strong, but I also want the citizens of this country to understand that our government is not all-knowing and all-powerful, that they even have to operate within rules. And so part of my responsibility here has been to keep American citizens safe, both from the known and the unknown.
Man, sound like he boule. I ain't listening to that right there. You sound like he straight boule. Man, listen here. All that sound good, but I'm telling you this here, bro. Your job is to make sure the American people get right, get them jobs and build and be prosperous. All that other stuff being safe. That's why we got the Second Amendment, brother. We can keep ourselves safe, bro. He's a boule member like I don't know what, bro. I don't like that dude. Nah. Bums out. Yo, listen. So, hey, yo, you got any last words? Your final words, Key?
Let's see. Who do I want to start off? Yeah, this basically was very eye-opening. And I will keep repeating. This is what we are going through now. And we have to have our eyes open and our spidey senses turned all the way up to be able to sniff out these rats out of our community. But there's so many of them. And it all boils down to the good old mighty dollar. Anything for a dollar. Anybody can be bought now.
Yep.
Like you were saying earlier, like people just don't care. Like bring back shame.
Yeah, for real.
Like it's cool to be a snake in the grass. It's cool to be ignorant. It's cool to be out here making yourself look like a fool.
Yeah. Like that dude told Jalen Smith, he said, Jalen Smith, man, you look like an asshole. Jalen Smith said, yo, thanks, bro. Really appreciate it, man.
Oh, God.
He said, thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate it, man.
And then this new thing. Well, not really new thing, but when you speak the truth that go against what everybody else saying, oh, now you're hating.
Yeah, that's what they say. But it ain't that. It ain't hating. It's called being. It's called telling the truth.
Right, along with being observant.
Yeah, talking about, oh, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Ain't nobody judging you. I'm just telling you. I can call a fig tree if it's a fig tree.
And so once again, so remember what I was telling you about a certain YouTuber.
Yeah.
You remember what I said? I'm not saying that he is, but then again, the writing is on the wall. I would not be surprised if he was not paid to further keep us asleep and talk about the dumb nigga stuff.
I think, man, you got to watch all of them. After watching that, you got to keep your circle tight, and you got to keep a tabs on your circle. You just can't trust people.
You remember what I was saying about Tasha K, and I would not be surprised if Nicki Minaj used her to further trash talk Cardi B. They was doing that podcast together. I mean, you can't put nothing past these Hollywood people.
Yeah, that's crazy. You can't put past nobody.
And that's just on the entertainment side. See, people think this stuff just goes on in politics.
Man, listen here. This shit goes on all over. And what our people But I mean, yo, like I say, the name of this podcast, The Mind of a Slave, Part 4. We got to get out of that mind state, man. We got to stop talking about it and try to find solutions to get us out of the mind state. It's like the only thing we care about is money. And that's what they had us as, is one time as commodity, nigga. So the whole thing is that our curse, man? We need to learn how to work with our hands and build our own and get a self-worth again, bro. For real, for real. But check this out. We're going to have to end this, man. It's going on an hour 30, 36. I'm tired. Yo, I love this thing. Hey, yo, you got any last words? Because I'm about to shut this down. What's the Word podcast? Appreciate it, Shabazz, coming in, showing love. I thought you had a person that wanted to come in, Keith.
I guess they got busy.
No. Because the only thing they had to do was send an email to the messenger. You could have sent the email. I could have just ping. Sent it, but hey, yo, if I wanted, what time is it? I don't know if I'm going to do another one tonight, but I may do one late at night, man. If you up, we could do a little quiet storm one. We could do a little quiet storm, you know what I'm saying, a little podcast on What's the Word, and just speak about, you know what I'm saying, we're going to call it Pillow Talk. We just talk about people. Hey, but yo, this your boy, man, What's the Word? Podcast, this your boy, FT Hipstar, with the co-host, Key. I am out of here. One.
All right, peace.